I'm Ellis Martin, and this is Money Talk Radio. Join me now for a conversation with Terry Lynch, CEO of Polymetallic, which trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol PNPN, and in the U.S. on the OTC as PNPNF. Polymetallic is a Canadian junior exploration company focusing on developing the high-grade Nisk Project. The Nisk Project is Polymetallic's flagship project located near Nemaska, Quebec, Canada. It represents a significant discovery of high-grade battery metals and critical minerals in one of the safest and most supportive mining jurisdictions in the world. Nisk has the potential to be a polymetallic supergiant like Russia's Norilsk, with high grades of copper, nickel, platinum, palladium, cobalt, gold, and silver. The benefits of the project being located in Quebec province are generous tax credits that cover 50% of exploration costs, a Hydro-Québec substation across the road supplying low-carbon, inexpensive hydropower, and again, a stable political environment with strong government and First Nation partners. The project is located beside a major highway and nearby town. Furthermore, there is shallow mineral depth. I'm visiting now with Mr. Lynch at the Society for Mining, Metallurgy, and Exploration Conference in New York City.
Terry, welcome back to the program. It's great to visit with you here in New York at the SME Conference. What are we doing here?
Yeah, we're learning lots, right? I'm learning a lot. It's one of the great conferences to come to because it brings a lot of, I think, technology providers, financial insight speakers that get you thinking about things that you're not necessarily thinking about all the time, but it's also prompts you to think about, hey, maybe I better check that, or maybe I should talk to that guy. So that's what we're doing here.
We really should be satisfied with all the knowledge we have over the years, not too proud of ourselves, humble enough to realize that we need to keep learning as entrepreneurs.
We got to keep learning. Stop learning, we stop earning.
Bring us up to date on the Nisk Project. What's happening in Quebec?
Yeah, we've drilled up a storm. Obviously made some great progress. We recently raised $50 million end of February. So we're fully funded to launch a 100,000 plus meter program starting actually this weekend. And we've got some phenomenal targets we think are the best holes are yet in front of us at Nisk. We've obviously had some enormous success. That's why we're able to raise that money. But we think the best is yet to come. The key question is, how big is Nisk? And we hope to answer that in large part over the next 12 to 18 months.
So you really don't know, do you?
We don't really know. What the clue is, what's interesting is we have a triangle in our presentation where we have nickel on the left corner, copper in the right corner, and at the top, PGEs and gold and silver. And that triangle, that relationship in that triangle is defined for these orthomagmatic bodies. There's maybe 20 projects like that in the history of the world. The world's most valuable mines, so Norilsk from Russia is the most valuable mine in the world, $1 trillion worth of value in the ground. Voisey's Bay, Norilsk Reef, Sakatti. So these are projects that have at least 1 million tons of contained metals and up to 10 million tons of contained metals. So they're beasts, and they're super high grade. When you get one of these projects, generally speaking, it's a nickel system, but it has a lot of copper. So it goes zoned from nickel to copper and back. And what you'll find is that for every ton of copper sulfide, you'll have on average 5 tons of nickel sulfide. So at Nisk right now, we're probably at 1.5 tons of copper for every ton of nickel, and we're finding more copper. So what does that mean? Probably means in addition to finding more copper, so our copper supply is growing, maybe it's like 12, 15, whatever tons. We're going to move to 20, 30, we hope, million tons. What does that mean for the nickel? We haven't even been looking for nickel, but there could be 150 million tons of nickel to be found. So this thing could be mammoth. Now we have to find it, but the math of historically what's happened in these projects worldwide suggests it's there to be found. Now it ranges from, the average is 5 to 1, but it goes from 2 to 7. We don't know where we're at within that range, but we expect to find a boatload more metal tons here in the near future.
When do we start factoring in offtake and talking to the end users? Or have you already started that? I don't know.
Yeah, we certainly have talked on the nickel side. We were actually doing a feasibility study with CVMR on creating a nickel concentrate that becomes a nickel powder with these guys. And we slowed that down a little bit while we focused on the line zone, but we're ramping that back up now. We'll expect to have some results in that in H2 this year. So that's happening on the nickel. We've obviously had a bunch of majors conversations with us now. For us, it's too early to get really serious because we don't know how big it is, and we need to define that first. So I think over the next 12 to 18 months, we can do a big step that way. And at some point in time, one of these guys is probably going to step up with an offer we can't refuse, but we'll try and fight them off for as long as we can, and we grow this thing.
I think we've hit the bottom in the resource market, at least with the stocks. They've been fairly low. They've been beaten up over the last couple of years, specifically 2 or more years. You've been doing fairly well, but I would say, and this is a very forward-looking statement on my part, audience, I think Terry would agree that there's room for plenty of upside. Why don't we have that upside yet?
The number one reason I would say is that the capital has not come into the sector. Why has it not come in is probably the more pertinent question. It's not because of the commodity prices. We're in the top quartile commodity prices, so that should have attracted and historically did attract them by this time. But at this point in the cycle, it hasn't yet. Generally in Canada, it's because of, I would say, some regulatory issues that have allowed bad guys like the naked short sellers to suppress pricing, and that's made investors lose money even when they're you bet on a project, it delivers the goods scientifically, yet you get no reward. That's happened time and again. And as Eric Sprott said to me, interview we did together, he said, retail investors are smart. You kick them ahead 2 or 3 times, they realize, hey, this is not good for me. I'm going to get into crypto. I'm going to get into big cap stocks. So we have to start to show the investors some respect. So our regulatory people have to do a better job. We have to create more winning investment opportunities for these people. Then money will flow back into space and this thing will get re-rated. I guess if bad news is good news, in Canada last year, the entire country only raised $20 billion on everything. Banking, industrials, pipelines, utility projects, mining as well. He used to raise $100 billion all the time. So what's that mean? It means that it's so serious a problem now they're going to have to address it. We see Ciro's coming up with some interesting new things. So I think this problem is going to be addressed in the next 6 months or so. And I think we'll see a massive re-rating in the Canadian mining sector. So I've been saying people find the projects you like. Hopefully they've got capital so you're not raising in this terrible market right now, that they can execute and move their projects forward. If you find those, bet heavily because they're going to be big winners.
Terry, it's always great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for joining me today here at the SME Conference in New York. See you soon somewhere.
Cheers. Take care.
I've been speaking with Terry Lynch of Power Metallic, which trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol PNPN and in the U.S. on the OTC as PNPNF. Get the complete story by going to powermetallic.com. Subscribe to Money Talk Radio and the Ellis Martin Report. It's free. Go to ellismartin.com.